Today we're talking about rules. What rules should you know? What rules should you break? And do rules even matter? So, hello writers and welcome back to Spooky Writes, your channel all about writing. I'm your host who is secretly a ghost, Kamal Onor. Now today we're talking all about rules and are there actually rules of writing? Which ones should you ignore? Which ones are important? So if you get any value from this video, make sure to give it a good thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. It helps it out a lot. And with that said, let's head into the storm.
It's the raven's call, the werewolf's howl, the vampire's bite. You search through the woods for safety, but all you find is... Okay, rights.
There are a lot of different views on writing rules. A lot of people think that there are rules, and a lot of beginning writers are looking for rules. And I think this is the wrong approach that beginning writers should take to writing, because I personally don't believe there are any hard, fast, strict rules to writing. I think it's like any art form where there is no rule for painting that says you have to use blue in every painting for it to be successful. Writing is very similar. It's incredibly subjective. Yes, there are best practices that many teachers and professors will suggest to you. As a beginning author, there are definitely ways that you can structure your stories, and there are definitely examples that you can use from writers and from reading a lot. And this, I think, is how I think you can analyze what is going to work well in your story. So many beginning writers love to be like, I can break the rules, and here's an example of why the rules can be broken.
The code is more what you'd call guidelines than actual rules.
Yes, you can break the rules, and yes, there is that idea of you have to know the rules before you can break them. This is true, and so many people love to just say, I can break the rules because it's my style. Poor grammar is not a style. Poor grammar is not a reason just to break the rules willy-nilly. You need to, and so many people use this as an example to be, I can be lazy because there are no rules for writing. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that you should be lazy as a writer. I'm not saying that you should think that writing is easy. Writing is not easy. I'm currently going through another round of edits and another round of drafts on my book that is coming out mid-October. So make sure you look out for that. Pre-orders are coming soon, but you cannot be lazy as an author. If you are lazy with your grammar, this is going to it's going to destroy your story. Your story is not going to be nearly as good if you're just randomly throwing in comma splices and you're randomly throwing in fragment sentences. You need to know what purpose can these be used. Yes, fragment sentences can be used well. Yes, certain grammatical rules can be broken here and there, and that's why I like to say there really are no rules to writing. If you can make something work within the confines, if you can tell your story in a way that is authentic to you. Grammar is one of those things that so many people love to be, I don't understand it, so I don't care. I'm going to break all the rules. I'm going to have fragment sentences. I'm going to have run-on sentences. I'm going to have comma splices. I'm going to use semicolons because I think using semicolons is a smart thing to do, just because I want to appear like I know what I'm doing. And this is such a bad approach to writing, and it's a bad approach for many beginning writers who love to say, you can break the rules. Yes, you can break the rules, but for many beginning writers, it's so important to develop the understanding of grammar, and writing is not a career path for people who want to be lazy. Writing is not a career path for people who want to make a quick buck. And so many people think writing is easy because I just have to come up with an idea, and this is not the case. This is so far removed from what the reality of writing is. So my suggestion is to understand there are ways, and grammar rules are so important to understand because it's a way that we should understand. It's a shared understanding of the way that language functions. Yes, you're more than allowed to deviate from standard traditional rules, but it has to absolutely serve your story in a way that is meaningful and impactful. If you're just using a fragment sentence for the sake of you don't understand the rules of grammar and you don't care enough to understand the rules of grammar, this is going to show to the world that you are a shoddy writer, that you are not taking the craft of writing seriously. And so many people who love to cite the fact that, well, I can break the rules, are looking for an easy option. They're looking for a scapegoat. They're looking for a reason for why. They're looking to be validated for why their writing can be lazy and why they can just have fragment sentences and they can say, oh, well, I'm breaking the rule because it's my style. Poor grammar is never a style. You have to learn the rules of grammar, and it's something that you need to learn. You need to go buy a grammar book, go read Elements of Style by Strunk and White. This is a very great book to read. It's not a fun read, but it's something that I highly recommend that you read that book to get an understanding of the functions of grammar. When I was in undergrad, when I started off as a creative writing major, I was writing stories that I had no true understanding of the way that grammar worked because I had never learned it through high school, just kind of got pushed on through the classes. And I remember teachers would always circle my sentences and say, this is a fragment sentence, and I never understood what that meant until I got to the undergraduate level. And this is why it is good to take college classes, because some college classes are going to allow you to understand the rules of grammar. And if it's something that you never got in high school, there's no shame in that. If you want to be a writer, you have to learn the rules of grammar. You have to learn the conventions of which storytelling is. Yes, you are more than allowed to deviate from these rules, but don't make it an excuse for having lazy or poor writing. Because again, so many beginning writers are looking for shortcuts. They're looking for a way to validate their poor writing because they don't want to have to devote years of their life to the craft of understanding grammar and the craft of understanding a story. They're like, I have a story and I want to share it, and here's my story full of fragment sentences, full of run-on sentences, full of breaking rules because I can break the rules because it's my style. My style is not conventional. That's fine. You shouldn't be emulating the archaic styles of Poe, or it's so important to read contemporary authors because writing styles change and what readers want changes. But you saying, well, I break the rules and that's my style, it needs to be done purposefully. You need to understand the rules. There's no shortcuts around that. The moment that I understood the rules of grammar, my writing drastically improved because editors don't want to work with someone who is throwing them rough drafts, who's saying, I have no idea how grammar works, but here's my idea. That's not going to fly. I do several revisions before I even give my work to an editor, before I even submit my work to magazines. Now, my most recent book that's coming out again in mid-October, I've done 6-7 rounds of drafts on it, and I'm currently going through the edits that have been suggested to me by the editor that I'm working with. And so it's another process of going through and meticulously looking at the edits that have been suggested, making sure that it does sound correct, making sure that it flows the way that I want it to flow, because this book is 100% me. And so make sure that you pre-order it once those become available. And with that, keep it spooky.
And now we must return to the shadows.